is talking about constricting the journey from London to New York to 31 minutes. But unfortunately, the topical issue in Nigeria is restructuring. Restructuring my foot. To hell with restructuring.
You see, these problems you have listed, I can tell you they're a fallout of the wrong structure, the wrong foundational structure of Nigeria, because everyone from Sokoto to Maiduguri to Calabar to Port Harcourt to Owerri to everywhere, everyone looks up to the federal government to solve these problems, and it should not be so. In a federalist state, your attention should be in the states government where you reside. That government should take responsibility for these things, not a distant federal government that probably doesn't have officials, bureaucrats who don't even understand the local terrain, the environment.
Yeah, but there's nothing stopping state governments from development at the moment.
It has actually restricted a lot of things. Part of it is this. Instead of the citizens looking up to their state capitals, they bypass them and look up to the federal government that is so far away.
And that kind of gives them an opt-out.
Exactly, and that gives the governors a free right to do whatever they please. There's some other thing in that constitution which must be changed. You give monthly allocations to states that should be given allocations to the federal government, and then
so they should control their resources.
Absolutely,
and then
there is no mechanism even for controlling what the governors do with the money. There's no accountability mechanisms, nothing. So if we do not restructure, honestly, I believe strongly, and many people know it, most of the politicians know it, if we don't restructure and give back power to the people to make of themselves the best they can be, Nigeria is going to be just managing to...
It will never quite achieve its potential.
It will never achieve that. So it is those who say that, it is if you restructure, you are weakening the sinews of Nigerian sovereignty. They know they are wrong. In fact, that's the only thing that can actually unite Nigeria and strengthen it, because it will give people the purpose. Look at our youth fleeing Nigeria. For what? A country given, endowed with virtually everything we need to grow and become one of the most successful countries in the world. Restructuring is a simple thing. It is going back to a modified form of what we had between 1960 and 1966, which is what are the component units of federal Nigeria? What powers do they have vis-a-vis the federal
So it doesn't matter whether they're states or regional
No, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
It doesn't, as long as there is consensus, those who belong to those federating units that we want to be here. If some wish to merge with others, why not?
And it is your belief that restructuring will not only have an immediate impact in Nigeria, but also be good for future generations?
In fact, it is the only thing on the card to take Nigeria away from where it is, which is poor performance globally, to another place. Because when you give people and in their enclaves the power and the authority, the autonomy to do things for themselves, they put in everything. They put in everything. But when they are doing things, say, for some distant power in Abuja or something, it's so impersonal. Everybody, in fact, most people who come from the federating units to Abuja come to get their share and go back. Yeah.
Then from 1966, some people tried to make a Nigerian nation state. This idea, and I suspect the president, the current president, Tinubu, is following that path, at least from his speech, in which they talk about the unity of Nigeria. There's an ethos of trying to make us a united Nigeria, where people are just Nigerians. So we invent horrible terms like detribalized. That's one of the ugliest words in the English language, detribalized. It makes no sense and it doesn't sound well. So we try to create a nation where we say, a country where people have no tribes, people have, that is a narrative. I argue that for the past 54 years or so, what we have in the country has shown that that project, that narrative, is a failed narrative. If I were to redesign a new narrative for Nigeria, what I would suggest is to view Nigeria as a union of nations, not one nation Nigeria. A union of nations where people are allowed to be different cultures coexist within the law, a law that will be certain, clear, transparent, and allow people to thrive. So a union of nations that allow diversity for progress and prosperity. That is a narrative that can be pushed forward. A nation with a huge population that can influence itself, its neighbors, and the world. That is a narrative that can be looked for, that has to be created. I would add to that, on my personal note, a nation where politics is less important than medicine and arts and trade. That for me is the future, because I want Nigerians to think about it. The best Nigerian has offered the world, from arts to sports to music to science to literature, anything you think about. We have done well where government is not involved. If you look around you, if you look at the things where we've been able to do well, it is where government is not involved. Where government gets involved, we don't tend to do well. So maybe we need to start building that narrative of a nation of individual entrepreneurs, self-made people who do not look up to government, who are diverse and use their diversity to grow.